Hey everybody, welcome to the new show. I hope to make this a weekly event. And basically what it is you have your questions and I'll answer them. I'll answer them here live. Now this week, several of you sent in questions. We got about 12 questions in. So I'm going to try to address about 4 of them right now. We'll get to the other ones in later episodes. And if you have any comments or any questions throughout the event, my team is here. So as you're plugging in the comments, they'll feed them to me. So if I get distracted and look off to the right, I'm just getting some information from them. So when we wanted to put this together, the first thing the team said is, hey, what do you want to name this? You know, it's Facebook Live, but how do you want to create this show? So I said, okay, let's see what URLs I own. So I went to my web provider, went through everything, and one of the ideas was worldsbestboyfriend.com. Now that site's not up yet, but someone said, I think you're the world's best boyfriend, so I got the web address. So, but I don't think that's a good name for the show. So what we did decide to come up with is Ask Thor Now. And it was fitting. I've owned that URL now for about 18 months. And this is exactly what this show's about. You ask the questions, and I'll answer them. Now you're going to get them raw, you're going to get them real, and you're going to get my unedited version of these answers. So first question comes in, and they want to know what's the best way and what's the worst way to deal with employee dishonesty, someone who is stealing from you. Well, when the team brought this to me, I said, you're going to get a earful on this one. When I moved down to Atlanta, I was in charge of a pulp and paper company. It was a $2 billion organization, and I was responsible for risk worldwide. When I got there, they noticed something was weird going on with one of the vendors and some of the books, and we were doing an audit. Anyway, we found out that it looked like somebody was stealing money. And when we dug deeper into it, we found out that actually we had someone in accounts payable that was stealing over the last 5 years, and they had stolen $2 million. And it's really, really simple to do. As a matter of fact, I could explain to you and you could do it tomorrow. I'm not going to do that. But it happens all the time. And if you're a business owner out there and you have suffered an employee dishonesty situation, or you haven't suffered one yet, you probably will. Or you're probably having one go on right now and you just don't know it. It happens all the time. But this is not about how to prevent it, and this is not about how to do it. This is about what do you do with an employee. If you have an employee in your organization that is stealing, and you know they are stealing, it is like a cancer. You need to remove that person, and you need to remove that person with force and send a message. If you've ever worked for one of my companies, or if you ever work for one of my companies in the future, you will learn something day one. And that is, I don't care if you steal $1,000, $10,000, or $5. I consider each one of those absolute. Sorry about that. I'll have to figure out how to get rid of the phone calls. So $5 or $1,000, doesn't matter. I had a situation in my company, the salon business, where I had an employee stealing. Not really quite sure what the end result was, but it was probably somewhere around $50,000 to $75,000. And because we dealt with a lot of cash, and it disappeared. I noticed it when I did the inventory. I noticed it when I did the accounts receivable, accounts payable. It just something wasn't right. And I set up a sting operation. So I had 2 of my friends come in, purchase goods on a Friday when I was not there, and they purchased equipment, paid with cash, and when they left, they got a receipt, but that receipt got taken out of the system. There was a hole in my system. And I brought it to the police. And in Georgia, if you steal anything over $100 and you use an electronic instrument, it's a felony. And I had that person arrested. And that person could have spent 5 years in jail. But for the rest of their life, they're going to have a felony on their record. If you steal from me, I will prosecute you. And everyone in my organization knows that. And I make no bones about it. I make it clear up front. Because if you allow that to go on, the other employees look at it and go, well, maybe I can get away with it. So employee dishonesty needs to be dealt with swiftly. You need to tell your people up front what you expect and how you expect them to behave. And if something happens, move swiftly. Do it. So hope that answers your question. Oh, and by the way, too, Also, I had them confess. I had my iPhone upside down on my desk. It was on the record mode. And I started going in, asking questions, and they finally confessed. So when I went to the police, guess what? I had a confession. That's right. So if you just tuned in, this is Q&A with Thor Now. Ask Thor Now.
That's right.
Got to get used to Ask Thor Now. Okay.
It's not American Crime Stoppers.
Well, you know, if somebody steals from me, we're going to see some Crime Stoppers.
Real quick.
Real quick, exactly. So if you just tuned in, you're asking the questions, and I'm answering your questions. So if you missed the one on employee dishonesty, watch the replay. Okay, next question comes in. I'm putting all my time in putting out fires. I'm not getting to the important stuff. You know, any entrepreneurs out there, we know that this happens all the time. If it wasn't for my team, I may be off track more than I am, but they kick me in the butt and keep me going in the right direction. But it's easy to, right? We've got employees that have issues. We've got technology issues that pop up. We've got clients. It's real easy to get caught in the weeds and continue to just put out fires. I've did that for years and years. You've got to rise above them. The first step is you've got to have you have to have a written plan. That plan gets done the night before. So when you wake up, you know what's happening the next day. You have your top 3 to 4 items that have to get done, and you do those first. You set up block time. If you're not familiar with block time, that is you set up time, say I do it in 50-minute increments. And I set my phone. You know the little timer, the little stopwatch? I set 50 minutes, and I go. And as soon as that alarm goes off, I'm done. Now, I'll go on to the next item. I will take a 10-minute break in between the different blocks of time that I'm working on. But it's really important. When you wake up in the next day, in the morning, you know, you may just have some adjustments, right? Because I'm going through, I'm looking at my schedule, and then I'm looking at any emails that may have come in overnight. I'm not processing emails. I'm just looking at emails to see what's going on. Maybe someone set an early morning appointment with me that I wasn't aware of. Maybe I've got some emergency that I have to deal with. So I'm not processing emails, but I'm looking at them real quick just to make sure if I have to make any adjustments. So how do you stay out of the weeds from putting out the fires that happen every day in business? Have a plan, execute your plan, don't divert from it. One note on this block time stuff. If you were out of the office and you were at a client's meeting or prospect meeting and you were there for 2 hours, in the middle of that presentation, in the middle of that discussion, would you pick up your phone and go, oh, excuse me 1 second. Hey, yeah, I'd like to talk to you on Friday. Yes. Or start answering email? No. Why? Because you have an appointment. But the problem is you're not keeping the appointments with yourself. You need to get those things on your calendar. You need to block out that time and do nothing else. Shut off all the other electronics. I shut off my computer. My computer's off right now. My phone wasn't off, but my computer was off. So that's how you get out of it. Eliminate the distractions. Have a plan. Hopefully that helps. If you're just tuning in, you're tuning into the new show. We're going to hopefully do this on Thursdays, I think is what the plan's going to be. We do all our shooting on Thursdays, so as we kind of have everything set up, we'll do this as well. It's a new question and answer period show called Ask Thor Now. Did I get that right that time?
That's right.
Bingo.
Right.
Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Hey, where's the gong?
Yeah, people are probably wondering what that thing on the wall is.
All right. Whenever I get something right, I ring the bell. No, that's it. It's there for celebration. Anytime something happens, we get something done, boom. It rings all day. Hey, I did it. Probably broke a pitcher as well. Okay, next question. This is a great one. My wife and I are thinking about setting up a business. We kind of want, we don't really want to call it a business. We just want a hobby. When I first saw this, I was like, oh, they're retiring.
They're retiring.
They're retiring. Right. They have plenty of money. Hopefully they don't run this hobby into the ground and not have plenty of money after they're done running their hobby. Here's my thoughts on this. You know, hobbies are like golf. I love to play golf. And hobbies are something that you engage in because you like that activity. But hobbies cost you money, right? When I play golf, I've got greens fees, caddy fees. I've got the equipment. I've got plenty of golf balls that I end up losing throughout the round. So golf is something that I know there's an expected expense to. In a year, I may spend $6,000, $7,000 playing golf. So that is an expense. Business is business. It's not a hobby. So if you're going to go into business because you want to create a hobby, that to me says that you don't want to make a profit or aren't interested in making a profit, or that's not an important piece of it. Well, be careful that you don't end up throwing your money down the drain. It is real easy in a business to lose money, let alone a business or a hobby that you're not even trying to make money at. So that's step number one. The second is, you also mentioned you were a little concerned whether there was going to be some conflict between your wife and I working together. Is that something that you want to do? Please, please, please make sure that your wife wants to do this with you. You're talking to someone that at one stage in his life needed his wife to help him at the office. She did not want to do that. That wife now is an ex-wife. She was not very happy. And I put her in a position where she was not pleased doing what she was doing. And shame on me for doing that. So make sure that you're both in agreement. You have a budget for what you're going to run this hobby or business. And please try to figure a way to make a profit, or at least make a small profit, or break even. You know, losing money is not fun. Hobbies to me are fun, but they cost money. Get a hobby or get a business. So that's the 3 questions. Were there any other questions that came in?
Yeah.
Hey, Rich Waterman.
Yeah, Rich.
Delilah, how are you?
Rich wants to know what's your biggest learning about joint ventures or partnerships.
All right.
Like what's a good piece of advice for going into business with a partner, I guess?
Oh, Rich, man, you asked an interesting question here. I could write a book about this. I've started out where I've been the only person. I've started out where I had a partner. I've been a 51% owner. I've been less than a 9% owner. This is my experience only, okay? And I don't want you just to take this advice and go, okay, this is the way it is. But this is what I learned for myself. One is, if you don't own 51%, you do not own the company and you are an employee, period. Because the person that owns 51%, the person that controls the bank account, is the owner of the company, regardless of how many people are on the papers that say that they're owners, founders, or shareholders. I went into one company, it still bears my name to this day. I won't mention what company that is, but I went in with 2 good buddies of mine. And fortunately, we exited that business, still friends, although the other 2 don't talk that much, but I talked to both of them. And we were each 33% owners. Sounds good, right? That is a disaster, because here's what happens. Nothing gets done unless 2 people agree. And guess what happens the entire week? 2 people are trying to get together against the other person. It is, don't do it. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. In any organization, in any family, in anything, nonprofit, for-profit, someone has to be in control. Someone has to be the leader. Now, everyone has their different roles, but there's only one person at the top. So partnerships, and the other thing in partnerships, please, I didn't make this mistake too. I made so many mistakes in partnerships, it's not even funny. I got bought out of a partnership early that turned out to be a really big hit because partner forced me out because he knew the valuations were going up. So be careful of how you can get exited from those businesses as well. What happens if somebody dies? There's all kinds of issues with partnerships. Be very careful if you're not the one controlling it, okay? So here's a big mistake I see all the time, and I made it myself. You start the business, everybody's excited, we're running forward, but we haven't documented everything. We don't have an operating agreement. We don't have a subscription agreement. We just start running. Don't start a business. Do not start day one until you have everything in writing and everything is nailed down. You know who's doing what, who owns what, and what if one of your partners stops working, says, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to come to the office anymore. I can go on and on and on, but not everyone here has a partnership. So if you want anything else on partnerships, just shoot me an email at info@thorconklin.com. I'd be more than happy to get on the phone call and do a 15-minute discovery call with you free of charge. So feel free to do that as well. Who else we got? Oh, shout outs. Jimmy, Steve Wallace. Love that Steve Wallace. NFL superstar. Delilah. Jason, what's going on, buddy? Jimmy, thank you very much for tuning in. Anybody have any other questions?
That's it.
Man, that is a wrap. I want one of those little things that go, I've got, one of those little things like, that's a wrap. Well, anyway, tune in next week. Send in the questions. Thanks for tuning in. Love you guys.